The Brewhouse was created to capture and share with you the long history of the Genesee Brewery, but the brewery itself isn't half as interesting as the beer and the people who make it. Visit GeneseeBrewhouse.com. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We are the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Dan Wesley with us. Nice to have you. U of R Golf and our go-to expert on college sports.
Thank you for having me. It's always fun to be here with you guys.
Pat Duffy, wearing the uniform of?
Team USA Hockey. Coming up this week, the start of the World Junior Championship, which in my humble opinion, the best hockey tournament amongst any level of all time. I love watching World Juniors hockey.
All right. Make a note of that. Hey, let's talk about the college football playoffs. We've got... I don't think there's much argument about, the four teams that are in there. What do you see happening?
I think you got three heavyweight powerhouses at the top. Obviously, Clemson hasn't lost since 2017, by the way, and they're getting no love in all of this. You've got LSU with the Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback.
Except they're the betting favorite, I think, against Ohio State.
They should be. Yes, they are, slightly, yes. You've got Ohio State, who, with Ryan Day as a first-year head coach, they've just literally blown everyone out that they've faced. Every one of their wins has been double digits. And so, like I said, you've got three major heavyweights, and you've got Oklahoma, who is making, I believe, their fourth appearance in this playoff since it started, and they haven't won a game yet. So they've got their hands full with LSU in the first game, and then I think that Ohio State Clemson game out in Arizona is going to be a good one.
It seems like it's a perfect combination because it's two must-see games. It's that the Clemson Ohio State and the winner of that presumably against LSU, and then if you like underdogs. You've got Oklahoma playing in the first round, too.
Well, I mean, Oklahoma's an underdog on paper. Oklahoma's not a traditional college football underdog, right? I mean, that's kind of taken a little bit of a shine out of it for me. I'm really going to enjoy to watch good football because this is going to be 3 games of really good football. But, I mean, where's the storyline, right? You said it yourself. All of these teams are really good teams. And even the team in Oklahoma that's an underdog has a quarterback that has won a national championship before. So,
No, the point being that three in that
in
that fourth team, with all the debate against having 8 versus 4 and stuff, there wasn't a fourth worthy team out there. There were really only 3 teams that belonged.
There was the way it played out. I mean, you had some pretty good drama during championship weekend. Utah was in a position where if they beat Oregon, they would have had an argument maybe against Oklahoma. And let's not forget, Georgia, who, if not for a ridiculous home loss to a bad South Carolina team early in the year, if they had met LSU with no losses in the SEC championship game, both those teams would be in this playoff. That would have been an SEC championship game with 2 undefeateds, LSU and Georgia, where the loser, as long as it's not a blowout, it turned out to be a blowout, but I don't think it would have been.
Nevertheless, the game of football, I think, was better served having 4 different conferences.
Yes, that would have been bad. To have an SEC championship, I mean, the people that complain about the SEC and Alabama with the special treatment and all that stuff, that would have been nauseating for everyone not in the Southeast. So it worked. It did work out right. I think the 2 matchups are going to be very intriguing, and then whoever survives to play in the championship, that's going to be great theater. It's going to be a great game. All 3 games, I think, are going to be very entertaining.
Got a team you like?
I like Ohio State, and not only because they've been so dominant, but, I mean, listen, Ohio State is good every single year. The problem is, in my humble opinion, and nobody agrees with me, the Big Ten football conference is the best in the country because they find a way to beat each other when they're really, really good. Ohio State always has that weird stumble game every single year, whether it's with Wisconsin or Illinois.
Purdue last year.
Exactly, whatever the hell's going on.
Yeah.
That didn't happen this year, which tells me they are a legitimately not only dominant in their conference team, national dominant team, I think they win the whole thing.
They think that they might be the best Ohio State team ever.
I think they might have the best player in the country in Chase Young.
Who says you take him seriously when he says he might go back to school?
There's no chance he's going back to school. Would you?
Well, no, but he said it. I thought I have to throw that out there.
Yeah, that's
who do you like in the playoff?
Well, I said at the outset, let's remember, Clemson's won 28 games in a row. Now, I know they play in the ACC, and they really haven't been tested all year. To me, that's a bonus because they haven't been tested all year. That means they're healthy, they're rested, and all they're hearing about is how LSU is a great story, and they've got the Heisman Trophy winner, and Ohio State is cruising along undefeated, and they're getting no love. They've got a tenacious defense. They've got the quarterback who will be the number 1 pick in the draft a year from now.
Trevor Lawrence.
And they've got a coach that is a master motivator who has placed the chip on their shoulder perfectly leading into this playoff. That's who I have.
Ohio State, Clemson, and I'll take LSU. I thought the way they handled Georgia was they're a dominant team.
And they're home. I mean, the semi games in Atlanta, the championship games in the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. So they're not even traveling for this playoff. So that's
wow, they picked their spot. You always talk about timing. That's timing.
That is timing.
That's timing.
We are the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House, talking Buffalo Bills next. The Press Box is brought to you in part by Bay & Goodman Pizza, a local Rochester favorite. Corner of North Winton and Browncroft, Bay & Goodman Pizza. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us on the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House. You know, the Buffalo Bills are coming off of 2 primetime victories, the games against at Dallas and at Pittsburgh, just really good. The whole country got to see them. They wind up with 1 Pro Bowler in Tre'Davious White. It makes me feel like this team is still a well-kept secret out there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, even if they had played 4 or 5 primetime games this season, it's a small market. It's a popularity contest. Literally, that's what it is. It's fans vote these players in, and it is what it is. So the amount of Bills fans that exist as opposed to Cowboys or Steelers. How about that, right? The team that Buffalo goes in and beats primetime, that defense, 5 Pro Bowlers coming off of it. There's nothing that teams like Buffalo can do anymore. Buffalo, Minnesota, Jacksonville, because you just don't have the fans to put your players in. Good for Tre'Davious White. He earns it. He's going to be an All-Pro. The biggest joke was Jordan Phillips, defensive tackle, who's second in the league, 9.5 sacks. Second with defensive tackles and sacks. What is he, a third alternate? That's the one guy I felt bad for. But other than that.
And they had to correct White in that the fans didn't vote him in. It was the other 2/3 of the voting process that pushed him ahead.
Yeah.
Look, this is kind of a reach, but you've coached, you know. Is this a problem? Does Buffalo have to deal with the fact that, you know, as a team, we're not going to get as recognized as maybe you'd like?
Well, as a coach, I like to put myself in Sean McDermott's shoes, and what a rallying point. I mean, we talked about Dabo putting a chip on the Clemson players' shoulders for no respect. This is perfect. I mean,
so it's all good.
I think it's all good. I mean, you preach team sun up to sundown, and now you know all their times together as a team now in the locker room and practice, leading up to obviously the end of the regular season and the playoffs that are ahead. The coaching staff can just bang that into the players' heads, saying, "Hey, we've gotten no respect. Let's pride ourselves. Let's rally around what we do as a team." And go out and fight for each other. Who cares?
Do you see these guys buying into it?
I absolutely do. I do. Yeah. As much as it is, you can talk about the individuality with a lot of the players in the league, and they all want their pub and their love. I think this fits what Buffalo is, right? Are we talking a blue collar, hardworking team? It fits even the way they play the game. It's who's going to step up. It's someone different every week. I think it's a great thing to go with if you're Buffalo. It may not work in other big cities, but I think it fits the market and it fits what this team is.
Can we just be done with the Pro Bowl now? Like, there's no point in having the Pro Bowl anymore. Legit, it's a popularity contest. First of all, second of all, back in the day, you had the Pro Bowl so you could watch guys that you didn't get to see normally on a Sunday, right? Like, how many times did you get to watch Bo Jackson or Barry Sanders in Western New York? You know, it was maybe once every 3 or 4 weeks. Every game you can see every play now with the Red Zone Network when important things happen. The players don't want to be there. The players that are the most successful going into championship games won't be there. There's no point in having any more.
And you think about it, when they're done with all the injuries and the people that are begging out of this and stuff, at the end it becomes like, boy, if you didn't make the Pro Bowl.
It's so watered down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, if they don't go to the Super Bowl, is going to be playing in that Pro Bowl. Josh Allen will be a Pro Bowl quarterback with the season that he's had. He's had a great season. He's not a Pro Bowl quarterback.
You're right. The game itself is useless and meaningless because they, like you said, a high percentage aren't even there. Name them to All-Pro,
and it gets
Pro Bowl,
ratings
whatever.
Every year.
Okay.
It's amazing. Are we that desperate to watch football? I guess so.
I have a Tyrod Taylor Pro Bowl jersey. That tells you why the Pro Bowl has to go away.
Yeah.
We are the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House. Like it or not, it's next. Here's the Press Box trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Here's the Press Box trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Dan, like it or not, the President's Cup. More in a general sense, maybe, than how the results came.
This is going to be part of my unfinished business, so I don't want to give it all away. But the President's Cup, I mean, I guess it serves its purpose in the off years where there's no Ryder Cup. You know, the American players, they're playing in a team event every year. Odd years, President's Cup, even years, Ryder Cup. This year was entertaining. It was on a great golf course. The U.S. team actually trailed going into the last round, but it's got a lot to live up to in terms of the intensity of what the Ryder Cup offers, you know, every other year.
You know, as I recall, that the Ryder Cup didn't really take off until it turned out the United States couldn't win it.
The U.S. dominated it for years, and then all of a sudden, it was hard to win. And now, because the Europeans obviously have gone on an incredible run over the last 20-some years. But the President's Cup now is in that situation where, you know, the U.S. there's been 13 President's Cups. The U.S. have won 11, okay? Yeah. A hammer and a nail are not rivals, right?
Did you care one way or the other about it?
I completely forgot it was on until everyone started tweeting about how the U.S. had come back.
Like it or not, Spygate 2.
What do you mean, like it or not? What are you going to do?
You're going to love it, right?
Oh, you sit here. No, I'm not loving it because nothing's going to happen. You sit here with your smug face, knowing that nothing's going to happen to the Patriots, even though they are doing something wrong. Like, I love these idiot Patriots fans, right? And you know who you are. Idiot Patriots fans. Oh, well, it's the same video you can get from any video you watch. Well, then why are they doing this? Why does this keep happening? And I also love
copyright laws.
Okay, well... Folks, you know, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Well, it's weird. The Patriots are really the only NFL team that has been caught cheating in any way over the last 20 years. Fair statement, right? Can you name another team that's had a scandal like that? 2, they got caught doing the same exact thing.
Which has got to tell you that they can't possibly be guilty of doing it.
That is the dumbest equivalency I've ever heard in my life. Do you think they've been doing it?
It's the stupidest thing you could do.
Then why are they doing it?
Because they're making a film.
See, you can't even say it with a straight face.
It's the way you're looking at me.
What? With honest truth that a man who cares about rules that the NFL is establishing, nothing's going to happen to him again.
Well, you set it up with the whole smug face thing.
You brought it up with a smug face because you know you guys do this stuff.
I have a smug face.
Okay, and I hate the way your face looks. Bottom line is this. Do you think, honestly, that the 2 times they were caught were the only times that they've been doing it?
Absolutely.
On my face, it's a joke.
Do you have an opinion one way or the other?
It certainly is amazing that, you know, the argument of because they've been caught, why in the world would they try to do it again? Well, I think it's funny when you look at the quotes. I mean, we know this. Nothing in that organization happens without Bill Belichick having his fingerprints on. Nothing. It's like the easiest thing for a coach is to say, as long as I'm not involved, you know, keep me out of it. And then when I say I don't know anything, I'm not lying. Mm-hmm. When Reggie Bush's parents suddenly were given a house in San Diego when he was at USC, Pete Carroll said, I didn't know anything about it. Well, maybe he orchestrated it that way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you remove yourself from the situation, it doesn't mean you're not aware of what may be going on underneath you.
Well, so Greg Doyle wrote this week about that they should be kicked out of the playoffs. Any support for that here?
No. I thought they should have had to forfeit that game to Cincinnati. I'm not even kidding. Like, how many times does this have to happen before you have a legitimate punishment? And don't tell me that losing a first-round pick the first time was a legitimate punishment. That actually helped the Patriots because the Patriots don't draft well in the top 3 rounds. Get out of my face. I'm so sick of everybody. Sucks.
I mean, what's going to happen with this, right? Nothing's going
to happen. You're going to lose a 7th-round pick. Oh, Brady's gone. There's your bigger punishment. Good luck with that. God, I can't wait. It's going to feel so good when you guys walk out. When they walk out, then all those Patriots fans are all of a sudden Chargers fans or Seahawks fans. Oh, yeah, no, I was there the whole time. I was a big Seahawks fan the whole time. It was wicked.
Wow.
I know.
Are you done?
Not even close.
We're the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Unfinished Business is next. And now here's this week's MVP Experience Stat of the Week, brought to you by Sport Clips, where it's good to be a guy. No appointment ever needed.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
When Girl Scout ingenuity meets Dunkin' Coffee, you get a cup of can-do. Girl Scout cookie-inspired flavors are at Dunkin'. Try Thin Mints and Coconut Caramel today. And get a medium latte or cappuccino for $2 from 2 to 6 p.m. America runs on Dunkin'.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Unfinished Business brought to you by Dunkin'. America runs on Dunkin'. Pat.
While I'm wearing my Team USA hockey jersey, let's talk about international hockey and why the NHL and Gary Bettman, the commissioner, are horrible. We found out earlier last week that the NHL won't be doing another World Cup of Hockey. That's the tournament they established when they decided they didn't want to play Olympic hockey anymore. The reason that they're not going to do it is, well, they don't really give a reason. So that means, with the exception of the World Juniors, which we talked about earlier, there will be no international hockey tournament involving professional hockey players that won't be happening during NHL time that will take away the superstars from doing it. The NHL players can't play in the Olympics and there's no World Cup of Hockey. What is the point of being a hockey fan without an international tournament that focuses on the world's best hockey players? There are two sports in the world that breed international competition. It's soccer, which we don't really get into all that much here. Save the emails. I know there are people, you know what I'm saying. And two would be hockey. Hockey exists for international competition. For decades, you had a team in Russia and all the surrounding countries that couldn't send players over to play the NHL. The only way we knew how good they were was when they came over and played our all-star teams or our top teams. By the way, Sabres beat them in Buffalo. Whole other point. What I'm getting at is, I hate you, Gary Bettman, for taking away what I love the most. Watching Team USA go out and compete against the other best international hockey teams on the planet. And I will never forgive you.
We have another President's Cup in the books. There's been 13 of them so far. The U.S. has won 11 of them. I will give them credit, though, this year. The host site, Royal Melbourne Golf Club in Australia, one of the greatest golf courses in the world, very rarely gets any TV time, so I thought it was great that we got to see that. And we also got a little drama with the U.S. actually trailing going into the final day singles, which proved to be pretty exciting. My favorite part of the tournament was a midweek press conference in which Captain Tiger Woods asked that the host fans be respectful. I almost fell out of my seat when he said that, because I immediately thought back to the 2017 President's Cup at Liberty National in New York, where the U.S. fans were the furthest thing from respectful. Our home fans on our home soil are not exactly as respectful as Captain Woods was hoping the Australians to be. The other thing is, look at who was on the U.S. team. You got a third of that team, not easy guys to root for. Patrick Reed, enough said. Bryson DeChambeau, the slowest player in the world, to the point where he should be penalized, and I think he does it on purpose, especially on the greens. Justin Thomas, who upon sinking a winning putt in one of his matches, screamed at the top of his lungs, "I love me some me." He said that.
That's a great line, though.
Our guys are not the easiest bunch to root for. So you put them in another country, in Australia, it's nice weather, beer's flowing. Yeah, they're not going to be respectful. So, and I don't blame them. If I got in an elevator with a third of the U.S. team, I'd probably heckle them. So, Tiger, you did a great job as a captain, but I think beware of your surroundings and what you're asking for next time.
You're never going to see Troy Smith in one of those Heisman House commercials, although he qualifies. He won the Heisman in 2006. He was a quarterback at Ohio State that began as a freshman as a running back. As a sophomore, he lost out the starting quarterback to a guy named Justin Zwick. Look him up. And somehow, over the last 2 years at Ohio State as a junior and senior, he became a Heisman Trophy candidate. And when a vote finally came around, he got 91.6% of the vote, beating out Darren McFadden and Brady Quinn. And at that point, that was the highest percentage of first-place votes ever picked up by a Heisman Trophy winner. That is since, and last week was beaten by Joe Burrow, who is now the new champion in that regard. The rest of Smith's story doesn't go so well. Ohio State played for the national championship against Florida that year. Smith completed 4 passes for 35 yards, was picked once and fumbled, and Ohio State lost big. He wound up being chosen to the 5th round of the NFL draft by Baltimore. He has 2 distinctions. One is being cut by both of the Harbaugh brothers, and the other was playing for the NFL, the UFL, and the CFL in a career. There's not many guys that have that. He was out of the league in 2000.